Hey there, sixth grade. We're pretty excited because today we should be working on finalizing our Scratch game. Now, we might not get it done today, and that's okay, but we should know what path we need to walk down in order to get to where we need to be, and that's really what 2/3 of this is all about. So the first thing we're going to do is go dive into our Scratch Maze game and take a look at the damage we did by bringing all that stuff in the backpack, and then kind of figure out how we're going to proceed from here and what we need to think about as we proceed. So let's go ahead and go to my backpack, my little folder with my stuff in it. And I've got a few different versions of my game because I've done examples a few different times. And this one I think is the one I'm going to go ahead and see inside. So Maze Game V3. And I've backpacked information from another game, which is what all of us should have done. If I go to my project page, you can see that I've referenced that game here. It's actually a really pretty cool game that I referenced, and I'm pretty excited to get to work to make this game, again, part of my game. So as my game was originally, I had two moving sprites, or two moving walls here. This one here is a moving wall, and this guy here is a moving wall. So they go back and forth, moving around. So this purple wall shouldn't be on this level. This cloud shouldn't be on this level, and this cloud shouldn't be on this level. So one of the ways that we figure out what's right and what's wrong about our game is by just go ahead and run it. So I'm going to flag it, and you can see that my start screen and my instructions still work the way they were supposed to, right? If I click on instructions, they pop up. I can click on them and get rid of them. But then when I click start game and I go to my first level, you can see that those two walls are moving. That's good. Then I've got this purple wall, this, and my second gold sprite. They're all in that scenario, and I don't want them. You can see even I've got both of those character sprites in there. So I've got to do some changes to the code to make it so that that's not happening, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is say, okay, well, let's look at these sprites and see if I can get those sprites to show up where they should. So let me get my face out of the way a little bit, and I'm going to go to Sprite 4. And right now, his code is, well, this is one of the characters that I brought in from the thing. So here's one of the real issues. Let me actually go to the stage to show you this specifically. And here it is. So my maze level is called Maze Level 1, right? And the maze I brought in is called Maze Level 1. So that naming is actually the real issue. And that's the bug I'm going to have to fix over and over again. So the first thing I'm going to do is change this. I'm going to change the name of this from Maze Level 1 to Maze Level 2. And then I've got to keep in mind everything that I need on this maze level, I need to make sure is referring to Maze Level 2 and not Maze Level 1. So I'm going to go back to this Maze Level 1. I'm actually going to get out of my stages here and go to my sprites. So now, things that I want to happen. Still want to make sure mistakes are at 0. Backdrop switches to start green. I still want to hide. When I go to the end screen, I still want to hide, right? When the backdrop switches to Maze Level 2, you see how that automatically changes that nice? So automatically, my code updated when I changed the name of that backdrop that was in the game originally, right? So Maze Level 2. So that seems to have solved a lot of my problems. Let's see if I flag this again and start this game. See how much of my problems have been fixed by just changing that name so we didn't have that duplicated name. Now I go start screen, and you can see I've got some problems fixed, but not all of them, right? So this is still in the wrong place, this is still in the wrong place, and this is still in the wrong place. So let's go ahead and check out this Sprite 3. And Sprite 3 is this purple bar, right? Let me stop that. And you can see it says when backdrop switches to Maze Level 2, start screen, end screen, we're going to hide. And when we go Maze Level 2, it's going to show. So let's, again, flag and click Start. We might need to do exactly what we just did. Click into each of the sprites that are on that second level to make them change. So you see now, the purple one's not there. So we're learning a little bit. We clicked on Sprite 1 and his code automatically updated. We clicked on Sprite 3 and that code automatically updated. Let's stop sign and check out Cloud. And look at that. His code just now automatically updated her code. I don't know why I'm assigning gender to the cloud. It's a strange thing. And then go to Gold Sprite 2. Right, I renamed that sprite already, Gold Sprite 2. And start screen, Maze Level 2, end screen. We're in good shape. We're in close to good shape at least. So let's check it out and see what happens. Flag. We've got our instructions. We've got our start game. These things look good. Let's click start game. And what do we got? So this is what we should have, right? So I'm going to play my game a little bit because I'm going to show you that we're still not in perfect shape here. Okay, so almost got so much fun. Whoever made me make this maze game, it's really smart. Must have been a really good teacher. I blame Mr. Kizuka. Oh, but wait a minute. I never made it to maze level 2. So I've got to change some other code, right? And this is the kind of thing that you're going to do. Really, you want to you want to work on your game, change some little things, figure out what's working, what's not, and then go back and figure out what you need to do to change the next thing. So I'm going to go to my first player sprite, and I'm going to check this out. So when he's touching the goal sprite, what are we doing? When backdrop switches, we're going to, here's the starting the timer, change timer, right? Switch backdrop to end screen. So when we touch the goal sprite, we don't want to switch to the end screen now. Now we want to switch to maze level 2. Because now when we switch to maze level 2, we'll be able to run that. So touching city bus, touching color. So some of you have this touching goal sprite in 2 places. If you do, be careful about that. That may be something that you have to fix as well. Now, when I get to that first goal sprite, I should end up going to that second maze level. So we'll have to see what happens there. We also may have some other problems that pop up. And again, we'll check it out. So, let's get my face back in here. There we go. Start game, maze level. I'm going to cheat this time. You guys have seen the cheating before. It's nothing new. And you'd be like, oh, that's great, but it's great-ish because now I've got these other moving walls that aren't supposed to be here in this level, and I've got these other sprites that aren't supposed to be here in this level. So I need to check and update those things, right? So here I go. I'm going to go to sprite 1 here. And when backdrop switches to maze level 1, right? When backdrop switches to start screen, backdrop switches to end screen, hide, stop the scripts in sprite. Well, what we actually want to do is when this changes to maze level 2, we want to hide now because that's where we're going to this game. Same thing with the city bus, right? Backdrop switches to not end screen hide, but rather maze level 2 we want to hide. And our goal sprite is still hanging out there, right? So when we switch end screen instead of end screen, we're going maze level 2 we want to hide. And then let's see, I think there's one more sprite here. And again, switches to maze level 2. We want to make sure that we hide there. So again, hopefully I did that on all of those. No, I did this. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yep. Okay. And I think now I'm ready to try it out again, right? So we're going to flag. We're getting closer. Start the game. So that looks right. Let's cheat. Good. And now I'm here. And I've got this other level. That's the level that I wanted to have, right? And look at that. Uh-oh. So now I've got another problem. Now when I got to the gold sprite, I'm not getting to where I need to do. So I got to check my code in this sprite 4, right? So what does it say here when backdrop switches to maze level 2 till touching gold sprite? We got to change the name of that because it's no longer gold sprite. Now it's gold sprite 2, right? So we're going to make that gold sprite 2, and then we're switched to the end screen, and that should have solved the problem. Again, we're finding problems. When we find them, we think about why that's a problem, then we fix the problem. You're going to have to go through this process probably a few times. You've seen I've gone through it a few times to get to where I am now, and we're just going to cheat twice and see if we get to where we want to be. So that didn't work at all. We got something else wrong. That's probably a duplication in my code. So let's double check this. Over here, yep. Touching cloud, touching purple, down arrow, up arrow, left arrow, right arrow. Switches to maze level 2, costume player sprite, backdrop switches to end screen, start screen, backdrop switches to start screen, hide. Maze level 2, repeat until touching goal sprite, switch backdrop to end screen. Something going goofy here, but this should have worked. So we'll have to double check it and keep working on this, but that time it worked. So again, not sure why it didn't work before, but it looks like we're getting closer. So the process of bug fixing is exactly what I'm talking about here, or exactly what I've tried to show you here is that you run your game, something doesn't work quite right, you try and fix it. You figure out what's going wrong, you look at your code, you fix it. You look at the code that you imported and you fix that, and then you keep moving through it until you get you've solved as many of the problems as you can, so that hopefully you're moving in the right direction. So that's what we're working on today. We're working on bug fixing, and again, bug fixing means finding the problem and then doing your best to figure out what the problem is. I've shown you a lot of the problems you're going to run into, naming protocols and making sure all of your transitions are set up the way you need them to be now, right? So changing those transitions is a big piece. Um, we're excited to see your game with a couple levels. We should be able to help you to the degree that you need that help. So make sure that you're talking to Mr. Kizuka or Mr. Emerson if you're needing help with any of this bug fixing in your newly expanded program. Can't wait to see what you guys have.